Prepare Carefully is one of the mods I've got. And I want to bring in the one that I had updated last night. These are all my people. I got Lumi and Amiya, Shizuki, and Acosta. These 4 are my very, very original from my first game I ever played. And I just copied all their information, except for their skills. Just ignore their skills. Everybody is starting off insane just for the purpose that I have got 12 people. And if they're not going to be useful from the get-go, they don't belong here, because you can't start with 12 people and not expect them to all have tantrums within like 3 days and like boycott work and stuff. It's okay when you've got like 3 people and maybe one person's having a tantrum and you're trying to build with another person, the other one's asleep, you know. You can get stuff done slowly, but man, is it a nightmare when you get 12 people and half of them, like 6 people, are pissy, you know, like shooting each other up, you know. It's a nightmare. So I'll show you them all. We've got Lumi. She is a caravan child. I'm not going to read out everything, but they'll all be around about 20 when they start. Considering last time my people were getting up to 50 and 60, not too bad. You know, they lived a good 40 odd years in that last space. Amiya is a blessed child. There's only a couple that really gave me nightmares, and I'll just get down to them in a moment. You got Shizuka is a vat-grown scientist. Acosta's an apocalypse survivor. Policewoman Weeks is a child spy. I actually really quite liked her when I got her originally. She was very cool. She came with her own pistol, and yeah, it was such a theme that she was a policewoman, you know. Whereas like these ones are Marines and therapists and hunters and stuff. Like it just seemed fun. Lincoln was a story writer. I actually got him in the game at 14, and because he's obviously a child or a teenager, yeah, it was really quite interesting. Like I put him onto like studying and researching and stuff, and that was basically what his job was, because he was kind of like, I don't know, protected. He was like a little brother kind of situation. You want to protect him. And I know that's like one san. I call her One-san. Like, you know, the Japanese like big sister. She's an apocalypse survivor, and I will keep calling her One-san, even though it's One-san. But yeah, One-san came in, and she was slightly older than my main people when she joined, and I did sort of see her as kind of like the big sister that has to go out and take care of the responsibilities and stuff like that. Enyo was always kind of cool. She was a sickly child. I'd have issues with her sometimes, but yeah, as a careful shooter, she was basically like my primary hunter, somebody I could rely on to go and bring food back for the group. Chimpanzee was originally a wild human. As amusing as that concept is, you know, being a chimpanzee. So anyway, being a wild human, I tamed him, and he was obviously a wild human. He's got no social capabilities, and at first I found that was super frustrating because I kept forgetting in the first map that I had him, and then I kind of got used to the fact that he was really great at other stuff. Like he ended up becoming the main person to make stuff in my base. You know, I could always rely on, if I had a quest come in for a quote for like 20 button-down shirts or so many gladiuses, he was my man to get in there, and he would do it. He'd do it quickly, and he'd do it high quality. And I always really appreciated him, so that's kind of how I use him. Tofu's a dick. He's just straight up, I hate him. I hate him so much. I almost didn't add him. He is the biggest shit stir. He's a shop kid. He's like 15, and he acts 15 his entire life. It is it is one of those things where he literally is almost not worth it. He's constantly giving up. In the last one he married 3 of my main ladies, broke their hearts, cheated on them, slept with the other ladies, got with them, bitched about not being able to move into their swanky ass rooms because, the main girls had the best bedrooms ever. And he was just this lowly little little slab of tofu. And he was such an ass. He had 3 marriages in the first, I barely had a hospital wing, and this guy was on his 3rd marriage. I know you'd love him. Like, that's why I put him back. Honestly, he is a big shit stirrer and he pisses me off. But at the same time, I can't have a completely perfect squad. And he is one of the founding members of it. So just remember this little purple bowl cut. Such a nightmare. Like, I love Lincoln. Tofu, mate. Seahorse. Um, I got her on my maybe 3rd or 4th map because I did do a lot of maps. A lot of them weren't successful. I only had maybe 3 that did live for a while. And Seahorse was one of the ones that came in, and I think she only had shooting and she had like intelligence or something. She came in with like 2 really strong qualities as 20s. Like, you don't get many people walk in with a 20 skill, and I'm like, holy shit, you know. So I had to bring her in the future. So I brought in Seahorse, and then I made her a twin. Like, she's Cave Child. I made her a twin, but I made her twin actually be completely different. So silverware. I know it's Silver War, but she's silverware. And she's basically kind of the exact same thing, except she's my plants girl. So Seahorse and I think Enyo. No, it mustn't be Enyo. It must be Seahorse and like one of these girls up here. Whichever one it is. One of them has, yeah, maybe her. Somebody has good social. Onesan. Nason, Seahorse are my trade people. So when people come in to trade stuff, they're the ones I'll go and grab. Yeah, I know. A 20 to come in is like nuts. That's why I made her. I'm like, I'm not missing it because she came in with 2 things being 20. She had shooting. Oh shit. Get that back up to where I had that. She had shooting was 20, and what was it? Social, intellectual. I think it was intellectual was like 20. I don't know. One of those 2 was 20. And it was nuts. I'm like, not having her again. But interestingly enough, even though everybody's going to start with 19 to 20, like I said, they're all starting off high because I need that to start. But they will lose those specs over time. Like in the last map, I think Lincoln or Tofu was down to 10s on a lot of his ones that he started with 19. From my perspective, I don't care if they lose a lot of these skills over time because I'll get other people that can do that. Everybody's around about 14 to 21 years old. So we're starting with a very young and healthy group because obviously once they're maybe in their 30s, they start getting health conditions like crazy. I remember Anasan, of all people, end up getting like frail in her 30s, and I'm like, well, living up to it, big sister, or older sister kind of thing. Originally, I had relationships, and I think this is where I went wrong last time because a couple of these people, they in my original map married, and I was okay with it. Like Chimpanzee had a wife in amongst all these people, and a couple of other people did too. but I wanted to make sure I didn't have any relationships this time. None of them were parent or sibling. Like, obviously, Seahorse and Silverware are technically twins, made them twins, but like none of them have a relationship for this reason, because last time, as I said, I started and like Tofu, the little shit, like he's 15, he should be just happy that he's like, got a wife. you know he's not worrying about that kind of thing. But at the same time, no, had to jump into every other main ladies, and it was the main ladies too. It was like, why? Couldn't you have picked like, one of the fictional ones like Silverware? Nope. Had to be the top ladies. By the way, Lumi to Acosta are really the top ladies, the main four. That's why they've got all their armor. They're the only ones that have armor. And funny thing is, I almost added in Franklin from my last map, and I chose not to. And Franklin was my healer. I was really attached to him, but he was a pacifist. So the only thing he really did was he tended to like the animals, and he did medical. Whenever a medical emergency happened, I could guarantee that Franklin should not theoretically be injured, and he should be somewhere loitering around the medical wing. So I didn't have to worry too much about that.